It's uneven. So please be careful as you walk. We don't want you to fall. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I never said blow horns. All right, please stand. I never said seated. Please stand. We are going to have the playing of the national anthem. Let us stand for the national anthem. Be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to what is truly a defining occasion in the landscape of national development this morning. What we are talking about is the official launch of the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project, right here in the breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth. And you can give a round of applause for that. My name is Dermond Spence, and I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. And I have the pleasure of serving this morning as your Master of Ceremonies for these proceedings. Please allow me at this time to formally acknowledge and introduce some distinguished persons that we have with us. Certainly they have taken the time to be here, and we want to recognize their presence this morning. Of course, you already have given a round of applause for our visionary leader, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. I want you to give another round of applause for his presence here this morning. His Excellency Olivier Guillaume. Did I get it right? Thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause. Ambassador of France. Our hard-working and dedicated Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining and Member of Parliament for South West St. Elizabeth, the Honorable Floyd Green. The Honorable Franklin Witter, Southeast St. Elizabeth Member of Parliament and Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. Senator the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, a son of the soil of St. Elizabeth who would not miss this morning's proceedings for anything at all. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Richard Solomon, Mayor of Black River. Please make him welcome. All our other councillors who are here, we want to make you welcome to. Chairmen and members of boards of our agencies. I see Sir Vitus right in the front here. Other distinguished guests, to include heads of agencies, CTDs, and other members of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. And when we talk about heads of agencies, We certainly want to recognize the presence of Miss Cherise Walcott from the NLA, without whose action we would not be having some of the activities here this morning, as well as Mr. Joseph Giles. You all know him very well, the NIC man, National Irrigation Commission. Members of the media, farmers, or dear farmers, or most important farmers who would be benefiting from this project, please give yourselves a round of applause for being here. And all other stakeholders who are with us this morning, we want to thank you for being here. And especially want to welcome all the persons who are joining us online, social media spaces, and of course, all stakeholders who are here this morning. We want to ensure that you are all welcome. So welcome to the official launch of the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project. Today is a very momentous occasion in the history of our nation, and in particular, the history of agriculture in Jamaica. As we begin, let us take a moment to invite the presence of the Lord to guide today's proceedings, the work ahead, and the future of all involved. And so I now ask Mr. Rowan Stewart, one of our local pastors who resides with the NIC, the Director of Engineering and Technical Services, to lead us in prayer. Where's Mr. Stewart?
Let us pray. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament show it his handiwork. Almighty God, in you we live and move and have our being. We, your people gathered here today, lift up praises to you. We recognize we are unworthy, God, so we ask for your forgiveness. Today, Lord Jesus, we are gathered at the launch of the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project. We recognize that any plan that excludes you is bound to fail. And so we come in your presence, presenting to you our plans. We ask you, God, to bless the hands of those who will do different elements of the project, those who will do the implementation work, those who will approve the finances, those who will commit to do the work of putting the infrastructure in place, and indeed, God, the farmers who will benefit and their families, and indeed the country. We thank you for fair weather, and we commit all the activities here today that they will be done to honor and to praise your holy name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Minister Stewart. I don't recall when you were in school that you were so designated, but it's good that it has grown on you. Thank you for making us feel the presence of the Lord. And it's especially important when you make mention of the persons who are going to be providing support. Team from the Ministry of Finance is sitting here. The prayer is especially for you. The Prime Minister has already endorsed the project. And so we just need to be on top of all of that. It is now my pleasure to invite His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Richard Solomon, Mayor of Black River, to deliver the welcome. Please make him welcome.
Chairman for today's function, Mr. Dermot Spence, who is a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fishery and Mining. Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, ONPC, MP, Prime Minister, special welcome to you, sir. MP for Southwest St. Elizabeth and Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Honorable Clyde Green. His Excellency Olivier Guynovac, Ambassador of France. I hope I didn't get it wrong. Member of Parliament for Southeast St. Elizabeth, Franklin Witter. And I see here our good Senator, who is involved in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Senator Auburn Hill. Councils present, I see Dr. Call for the PJ Plain Division, former Councillor Jeremy Palmer. All agencies associated with this project, members of the media, distinguished guests, and most importantly, the farmers and citizens of the Breadbasket Parish of St. Elizabeth. A peaceful and loving morning to you all. A peaceful and loving morning to you all. Yes. Every day the Lord creates is a great day. But today is an extraordinary day, as we have the official launch of the PJ Plains Irrigation Expansion Project. It is a privilege and with great pride that I was afforded the opportunity to welcome you to the Breadbasket Parish of St. Elizabeth. The Parish of St. Elizabeth boasts many firsts, such as the first place to get electricity, the first place to have a car, and the first place to have telephone service in Jamaica. Today is a significant in another first step for the Parish of St. Elizabeth. This is the first time we are witnessing a mega project of this nature that will impact the Parish of St. Elizabeth and Jamaica at large. The PJ Plains Irrigation Project was conceptualized to provide reliable irrigation on a large scale to improve agricultural productivity. Over 4,000 farmers across approximately 4,000 hectares should benefit from this initiative. This is a life-changing initiative for the people of St. Elizabeth. The distribution of land title is a significant part of this project. I want to extend the gratitude the farmers and the citizens are expressing for this life-changing project to come. We commend the Prime Minister and the government for the foresight and the vision for understanding how important this project will be in changing the landscape of agriculture in this country. A literal transformation is taking place in front of our eyes. Even Niger boy can attest to that. We want to commend our hard-working Minister of Agriculture, MP Green, for advocating and making strong representation for this project to become a reality. Your work, sir, will not go unnoticed. Let us hear it for the Minister. We also want to commend the French Ambassador for the partnership. It is true, a French engineering firm, a comprehensive feasibility study was done. This again, the Prime Minister, Minister of Agriculture, and the government should be strongly commended for. As a responsible government, we are ensuring that the environment is not impacted in a negative way. We are doing development in a sustainable manner. Let peace, love, and unity be the order of the day. As we strive for a better St. Elizabeth, a better Jamaica, once again, I welcome you all. God bless you. One love, one Jamaica.
Thank you, Mayor Solomon. Please give him another round of applause. One love, Jamaica. This launch is indeed a major step in the right direction for the community and our farmers, as the mayor would have endorsed. At this time, we will be greeted by one of our distinguished guests, His Excellency Olivier Guyonva, Ambassador of France. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I have the extraordinary privilege to not have to pronounce myself my name. So, Prime Minister, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable Minister Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, my good friend, Senator and Minister Obin Hill. I call him Obin, so it's always difficult for me to add Senator, Minister. So, dear Obin, His Worship Richard Solomon, gives me a great pleasure and a great honor to be here today. It's a privilege because I'm the only ambassador to have so much occasion to meet the Prime Minister for groundbreaking projects where French companies are involved. Last year was the Rio Cobre water distribution plant by Vinci already. 10 days ago was the wastewater project by Vinci again. Yesterday was KFTL with CMA CGM on the port, and today here in St. Elizabeth. So all my colleagues are really jealous of myself. And this showcases the good relations between France and Jamaica. And I'm so proud that French companies do not necessarily export luxury goods, wine, or cosmetics. No cosmetics, because Jamaican ladies are so beautiful, you don't need French cosmetics to be beautiful. But French companies and French government contribute to the development, to infrastructure, and to the future of Jamaica, and we are so proud of that. With this project, 6 years ago, the French government gave a grant of 500,000 euros for the preliminary studies, which was done by the Société du Canal de Provence, the Provence Canal Company, which is one of the oldest French companies. This company was set up in the 18th century to dig and build a canal in Provence, southern of France, who looks like St. Elizabeth, but which is even drier. This canal was improved in the 19th century to serve as transportations. At that time, canals were highways of today, and for irrigation. And this canal contributed to the economic development of south of France. So this project is also going to contribute with the Provence Canal companies to the development of St. Elizabeth and to the whole Jamaica. It's going to be a game changer project. Not only a game changer project, this project is going to be a revolution for Jamaica, for food safety of Jamaica, for tourism industry of Jamaica, and for exportations of Jamaica. So congratulations. Choosing two French companies with Vinci is a good choice. Congratulations. Really, congratulations. To conclude, I'm so proud to be here to represent the French government and to represent those two French companies, Vinci. You know why you can drink tap water in Kingston? Because tap water is treated by Vinci with the French norms. You cannot drink tap water in New York, but you can drink, I drink tap water here, and look how healthy I am. Look how good looking I am. But I suspect that Prime Minister drinks more water than me because he looks much better than me. So congratulations for this project, for the future of Jamaica we love, for the future of Jamaica I love. Thank you so much.
Please give the ambassador another round of applause. It's a big statement about the quality of water in Jamaica, drinking tap water in the city of Kingston. Thank you so very much, Ambassador, for those wonderful greetings. Indeed, as we have heard, Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project is monumental, both in its scope and its anticipated impact. It represents a significant leap forward for the more than 4,000 farmers who stand to benefit from its implementation and the transformation of this area into production. A clear and powerful signal that the new era of agriculture is not just a vision, but a reality in motion. Once again, let's show our appreciation with a warm round of applause for the project, just for the project that it is actually happening. And so at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to enjoy a special performance by a talented member of staff from the Newell High School right here in the parish of St. Elizabeth. Please make her welcome with a warm round of applause, Miss Stacy and Dunkley McLean.
There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. To have you all, my dreamland would feel like heaven to me. To have you all, my dreamland will be like heaven to me. We live together on that dreamland, and we have so much fun. We live together on that dreamland, and we have so much fun. We get our breakfast from the tree. We get our honey from the bees. We take a ride down the waterfall. We count the stars in the sky, and surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. Oh, what a time that will be. Oh, just wait, 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 and you will see. Oh, just wait, 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 and you will see. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. We live together on that dreamland, and we have so much fun. We get our breakfast from the tree. We get our honey from the bees. We take a ride down the waterfall. We count the stars in the sky. And surely we'll never die. And surely we'll never die. All you have to do is wait, 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 and you will see. Just wait, 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 and you will see. Thank you.
Surely we will see. Won't have to wait too long now because it is happening right here. And that's why you are all here. Thank you for that entertaining yet powerful performance. Miss McLean, your piece has beautifully captured the essence of what today's activity is about. Am I correct? Please give her another round of applause. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce a leader whose vision, energy, and unwavering commitment has been instrumental in advancing Jamaica's agricultural landscape. Through his leadership, the transformation of agriculture, fisheries, and mining is no longer a dream but a lived reality, evidenced by groundbreaking initiatives like this one here today, the Pedro Irrigation Expansion Project. Please recall that we had engaged you earlier on over in Clarendon for the Panassus Irrigation Project. And you are well aware that there are another major irrigation project that is taking place in this very parish of St. Elizabeth. So no doubt the transformation is happening right in front of your very eyes. He is the driving force behind the new era of agriculture, boldly tackling issues that have challenged the sector for decades and positioning our farmers for long-term success. A true champion of rural development and a steadfast friend of our farmers and a true son of the parish of St. Elizabeth. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Floyd O'Brien Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Bess. Make him welcome.
So I just want to say thank you, especially to Minister Floyd Green, because this is his baby.
This area have been struggling for water for probably about 30, 40 years.
I'm very happy that you come into our side in the Pedro Plains area because we really need the water. But if without the water, the farming can't go on.
I won't have to be shipping water in these drums and catches.
We're glad for the groundbreaking because we're proud of it. And we're glad for the irrigation water because it's a big move for Flaggerman.
We have one of this Prime Minister and one of this Agriculture Minister. And they don't only promise, they deliver.
We know we make a better crops when we get the water.
We really need it and we're grateful for it.
We can't drive a car, we can't make one for house, we can't afford to send a picnic high school. You understand?
You know, St. Bess is the best parish in Jamaica.
St. Bess is the best parish in Jamaica. Let's have a round of applause for that. Our chairman of today's proceedings, our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and the man who pulls all of this together behind the scenes. Let's have a big round of applause for our permanent secretary, Dermot Spence. He is our chair for today. Of course, the most honorable Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Welcome home to St. Elizabeth, Prime Minister. Good to have you here with us. His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Richard Solomon, and other councillors of the Municipal Corporation. Clearly, Councillor White is here with us. I know Councillor Sangster is somewhere with us. Former Councillor Palmer is here with us. And I want you to clap former Councillor Palmer especially because he did a lot of work on the NIC board to push this forward. My colleagues, State Minister, Minister Franklin Witter, a man who is no stranger. I mean, he is our neighbor and always here with us, the Member of Parliament for South East St. Elizabeth, and a St. Elizabeth man, the Ministry of Industry, the Business Minister, Minister Albin Hill. Can we make them feel very welcome? He wouldn't miss this at all. Another St. Elizabeth man that has already spoke is the French ambassador. If you don't know, you will now know. He loves the parish of St. Elizabeth. I'll tell you a secret, Prime Minister, you may not know. He actually came and kayaked on the Black River. And when we said to him, boy, kayaking on the Black River might not be too safe, him say him can manage. He's a man of the soil. Can we congratulate the French ambassador? Thank you for joining us. Mr. Joseph Giles, our Chief Executive Officer from the National Irrigation Commission. Of course, our Chairman of the Board, Vitus Evans, members of the board and members of the NIC team. Thank you for being here. I know you put in a lot of work to get us here today. I see Cherise, and I often feel that she is a part of the Ministry of Agriculture. Our NLA, our Commissioner of Lands. Big, big round of applause for our Commissioner of Lands who is here with us today. Other specially invited guests, members of the media, our farmers. There's so many important people here, but nobody is more important than the farmers of Southwest St. Elizabeth. Can we have a round of applause for our farmers? Today we launch the largest irrigation scheme in the Caribbean. That is something to celebrate. The Pedro Plains irrigation scheme, once it is completed, will not just be the biggest ever in Jamaica. It will not just be one of the biggest projects ever embarked on across any ministry. It will be the biggest ever in the Caribbean. But when we come to launch a project and to break ground, I want people to appreciate that this is not the start of the project. We would have had to done significant work for us to get to this stage that we can formally launch and break ground for this project. And I think it is worth tracing quickly the history of the Pedro Plains irrigation project. I won't go into the time before I was born, but you know that they have been speaking about this project before I was born. And when I became Member of Parliament in 2016, I went to the National Irrigation Commission and I said, let us see how quickly can we get this Pedro Plains irrigation system off the ground. The concept of taking water from the Black River and using it to irrigate the plains of Pedro. When we looked and met with the NIC, I must say, they were very willing and ready to go. But there was not much. In fact, there was nothing in terms of the preparatory documents to make this project a reality. So we had spent decades talking about it, but we had done absolutely nothing about it. And the first step that we had to take is to check if it is feasible. In other words, does it make sense? Can you really do it? Can you take water from the Black River? Does the Black River have enough water? Can you bring it to Pedro Plains, and can it work? And in those days, in the early 2016, 2017, as you know, as we were balancing the budget, and I was wondering where would we get the resources to start the work, to do the feasibility study, the government and the people of France said they would provide some support. And I want you to clap the French government tremendously, because they provided about $90 million to start the work towards the feasibility study. And they dispatched a French company and a French team. And I remember when I met with them initially and said, do you think this thing can work? They said, MP, don't worry about it. We have done more challenging projects than this. So we set about doing the feasibility study with that initial grant. And the government of Jamaica had to put some money as well. And we put an initial grant of about $30 million to start that feasibility study work. That was between 2017 and 2019. Feasibility study was finished in December 2019, and I said, all right, we looked at the feasibility study, we had the meeting, they said, these things look feasible, we can start moving forward on the other studies. What are the other studies? Yes, it is feasible. You can take the water, but you have to then do an environmental impact assessment to see if you take the water from the Black River, will the Black River be able to survive? And we started the environmental impact work as soon as we finished the feasibility study. Then what would have happened in 2020? When we thought everything was good, by that time the government never needed to go to anybody else to get the money to do the environmental impact assessment. We provided those funds. Out of the blue came COVID-19. And I can tell you, during the 2.5 years of COVID-19, I began to worry because as you channel resources to deal with healthcare, you said, would we still have the resources to treat with the Pedro Plains scheme? And this is where I want you to give our Prime Minister a big round of applause. Because he said, regardless, this is a priority for the government. So even though we have to put more into healthcare, we're still going to fund the studies needed for the Pedro Plains irrigation scheme. So we did the environmental impact assessment with some delays because of COVID-19. When we finished the environmental impact assessment, we moved to 2 other areas. One, now that we say it is feasible, now that we say it can happen, we need to know in designing the system, how much water are the farmers going to need? And if we give you the water and you are now farming 1 acre, will you farm more and how much more will you farm? So we did a demand study, put people on the ground where we went into farms, and that demand study also geotagged all our farms across the Pedro Plains area. So as we went in, as we found out the demand, we used the technology to tag the farms. But then there's an important component. Now that we have the feasibility, we have the environmental impact, we know the demand, we have a preliminary design, and the design is to run pipes through from the Black River, through parcels of land, into reservoirs, and to use that to feed the farmers. We said, how are we going to run the pipes? How are we legally going to run the pipes? Because when you check the land, most of the land that the pipe would run through is untitled, unregistered. People don't have any documents for the land. And we said, you know what? As a part of this Pedro Plains irrigation scheme, we are going to ensure that every piece of land that the pipeline goes through, the people will get registered titled for free of cost. So we're going to be doing over 1,000 titles for our residents. And today, I don't want you to think it is something to come, because I'm telling you that we would have had to done the work to get here. Today, we're going to distribute. We have about 100 of those titles to distribute to people today. So people will leave here with their title for their property, the first of its kind. So now that we have done all of that work, we are now embarking on a different phase of the project. And this phase of the project will ensure that we start the civil work, will ensure that we finalize the designs, will ensure that we establish our project office to start running the pipes to get water to our farmers. The Pedro Plains project is the most technically robust and environmental sustainable intervention. And it will have the construction of a new intake structure on the Black River, which will be constructed at Lacovia, where we will secure a reliable water source. We will place reservoirs and pumping stations to ensure optimal flow throughout the system. It will have a pressurized trunk main and a pipe network that will deliver water directly to farm gates. Most importantly, the entire operation will be powered by a 9.7 megawatt solar photovoltaic system. Renewable energy will run the Pedro Plains irrigation system. We're going to build a fit-for-purpose operations and maintenance facility for the National Irrigation Commission. So they're going to have a brand new office and an operations center that will run not only Pedro Plains, but all the systems that we've had over the years. Additionally, the Pedro Plains Irrigation Project will come with agro-processing facilities that will be built and cold storage that will be built in the project area so that as we produce more, we can store and sell. And I think that deserves a big round of applause. So I hope we appreciate that what we're doing now is embarking on a new phase. And the intake and the initial pipelines to our first reservoir will take us about 2 years. But we are starting that work this year. In fact, we're going to be setting up the project site. We have learned a lot of lessons from the Essex Valley and the SPAD. And that is why Cabinet has already approved that the Pedro Plains Irrigation Project is a national developmental project, and as such, we can treat directly with contractors so that we can move quickly. And we already, as you would have heard, have some good French firms who have provided great support. But I want you to appreciate the magnitude of this project. Before this, our biggest irrigation project was the Essex Valley. And the Essex Valley is bringing 1,200 hectares, which is about 2,500 thereabout acres of land under irrigated water support. And I think Essex Valley costs us, how much, Mr. Giles? About, in US? Okay. Well, the Pedro Plains irrigation system will bring water to every area from Mountainside all the way through Brucefield, all the way through Barbary Hall, all the way through Greenfield, coming all the way up the hill, all the way through Bacon, Liquor Park, Claremont Park, all the way up to Flaggerman, all the way up to Southfield, all the way, when it is finished, up to parts of Top Hill. It is a 26 billion Jamaican project that we are embarking on today. And I think the government of Jamaica deserves a big round of applause for moving this from vision to reality. So, today is a great day for us here in Southwest St. Elizabeth. In fact, today is a great day for Jamaica. We are already the breadbasket. And the feasibility study said at minimum, we will increase production by 35% at minimum. And that was with the present levels of land that were surveyed. That Minister Hill did not account for all the additional land that will go into production. We know that down here we can not only feed Jamaica, we can help to feed the entire world. And we have the best farmers in the world. And once they get the water, they will do what they love and feed the world. So, our Prime Minister is here. And I want to say to him, many have spoken about it. Many have said they would do it. Another leader by the name of Michael said he would do it. But Andrew Michael Holness is getting it done. We do these things because at the center of our government is the people of Jamaica. And every single day we get up thinking how we can better the lives of the people of Jamaica. We will always choose Jamaica. God bless you.
Listen, you have heard this story of the Pedro Plains project. And the minister said he wouldn't go into it before he was born, but he has taken it from where he got involved. And the fact that we are here during his time as Member of Parliament, and he has made it happen despite the conversations about it so long ago, is indeed truly an expectation that is coming to life. And you should give the Minister and Member of Parliament another round of applause for making that happen. Very inspiring and impactful remarks. And I believe that everyone saw the passion, the conviction, and is truly a champion for transformation of the agriculture sector. And so we want to thank you, Minister, and hope you will be able to continue the good work in due course, in due time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a moment we have all been anticipating. It is my honor to introduce a leader whose vision has consistently guided our nation towards growth, resilience, and prosperity. A steadfast champion of development, his leadership has been instrumental in navigating Jamaica through both challenges and opportunities. You know, the last time when we were over in Clarendon, Honorable Prime Minister, when you came, you know, I was walking about and I heard some ladies saying, look like the Prime Minister now wear jeans. You can address it, sir. I decided that I'm going to wear jeans because if they're looking for the Prime Minister to wear jeans, just know that your humble servant right here, P.S. Spence, is in jeans. All right? Anyway, so the Prime Minister is in jeans today, so I don't expect to hear any comment on that. But please join me in making welcome Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary Dermot Spence. Let me say how good it feels to be in the parish of my father's birth, St. Elizabeth. I have a special connection to this parish. And I believe I know very well, and indeed I can identify with the dreams, aspirations, ambitions of the people of St. Elizabeth. Probably some of the most independent-minded people in Jamaica. Some of the most hardworking and industrious people in Jamaica. And as I received the report from the head of the division, the police division in the parish, that homicides in this parish is down 62% year to date. So indeed, St. Elizabeth is one of the most peaceful parishes in the country. Let me greet your homeboy ministers, because there is a little cabal of St. Elizabeth people, starting with the Minister of Agriculture, your homeboy Floyd Green. Yes. Then his neighbor, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, the Honorable Franklin Witter, another St. Elizabeth homeboy. And then I don't know why the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce is here. Today should be the Senate, I don't know. I suspect the only reason why you're here is because you're from St. Elizabeth. Minister Harbin Hill. Of course, the French ambassador has become, you know, my new best friend and advocate. And you don't mind us repeating those comments about the quality of our water. His Excellency Olivier Guillenvache, the ambassador of France to Jamaica. May I respectfully acknowledge our mayor, His Worship, Councillor Richard Solomon, and other members of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Authority. Mr. Joseph Giles, Chief Executive Officer of the National Irrigation Commission or Corporation, Ms. Tamika Day, who will be representing the farmers and landowners here today, members of the public and private sector who are here, members of the media, members of the security forces. Today is a good day. The Pedro Plain Irrigation Expansion Project will bring 4,000 hectares of land, some of Jamaica's most fertile land, under irrigation. It will benefit up to 6,000 farmers and households. Now, when I say 4,000 hectares, I think Jamaicans more relate to acres. So let me put it in the proper perspective. That's about 9,884 acres of land, almost 10,000 acres of land. I just wanted to give the scale of what we are doing. It's huge. Now, sometimes when I listen to the national discourse, the national conversation, it seems as if everything started yesterday. There is very little context and history brought to the conversation. And for some, everything started in 2016. Minister Green is correct to say that this project has a long and deep history, but he can only relate to the history after he was born. It is reputed that none other than our great former Prime Minister Michael Manley announced this project, announced the intention to irrigate these lands. And that speaks to the long-abiding dream and aspiration that these lands would be brought into systematic agricultural production. And I'm sure everyone here who is a farmer agrees with that. This is what we would want. Was it done? Why wasn't it done? Could it have been done? Well, let me read something to you. Because it's always good to place things in context. Minister of Water and Housing, Donald Buchanan, says the upgrading of the Greater Pedro Plains irrigation water system is on track and will come on stream in June of next year. We are committed to the farmers of southern St. Elizabeth, and that's why we want to ensure that we provide adequate amounts of water for them to do their farming, Minister Buchanan said. He made those remarks while addressing the annual People's National Party Divisional Conference of the Brompton Division at the Brompton Primary School on Sunday, June 19. This was 2005. Mr. Buchanan explained that areas such as Beacon, Little Park, Newcomb Valley, Richpen, and Big Woods are expected to benefit from an improved water supply for agricultural purposes once the system is completed. With this upgrading and expansion, more than 500 farmers in the southern belt of St. Elizabeth would be better positioned to increase their production of fresh fruits and vegetables. He told the conference that for far too long, the lack of constant water for agricultural purposes had hampered the production capacity of the hard-working farmers in the parish. But he stressed that after the commencement of the upgraded irrigation scheme, the lack of constant water, the lack of water will be a thing of the past in southern St. Elizabeth. That was 20 years ago. "20 years ago. They did a project which sought to irrigate about 470 acres of land, and a number of farmers, but nothing in the hundreds, would have benefited. So I want to make the point, because we are in this season now where everything is political, that the political discourse does not start from yesterday or from 2016. So for those who are looking for political advantage or to play upon people's distress, we must always seat our conversation in history. Because there is an attempt to say that this government must be blamed, and we are at fault for there being no water in this region. We have done our surveys, and we have gone out, and we have done our polls as well. And we do pick up what our farmers, what households are saying in this region regarding water. And we can tell when there is a politically driven narrative that refuses to pay attention to what the facts are. So there are persons who are saying the government isn't doing anything about water in this region. There are persons who are saying, you know, Minister Green, the Minister of Agriculture, and it is his parish, his constituency, nothing is being done. And there are those who are saying, well, if they were the government, they would do something. I'm saying, look, let's have a rational and reasonable conversation. No? They were the government for 18 and a half years straight and did nothing. Oh, I know what I say. Some people are a little bit, uncomfortable. But you can't argue with the facts. I spend most of my time administering your government, trying to fulfill and complete projects which were dreamed up of by founding fathers and former prime ministers. We have gotten them done. I spend most of my time dealing with the big issues, the issues which many of you here think are intractable, meaning we will never solve them. And there's a danger in doing that, because unfortunately, our electorate does not pay attention to the solutions of the big problem, because we have been in this long struggle, and so everything is reduced to, I still don't have water in my house. In other words, everything is reduced to my personal benefit, versus how is the national picture evolving. Because we have been involved in this politics of scarce benefit and spoils for so long that everything is about what I am going to get. And so what we have been reduced to is fighting over the scarce benefit, rather than focusing how can we expand the pie so that everybody can get, so that it doesn't become about this personal fight for benefits. I have spent the last 9 years as your prime minister bringing down the national debt. We have cut it in half. We got it at about 130%. The national debt now is at 68% and trending down. A lot of people say, so that don't affect me. I've spent the last 9 years ensuring that we manage the affairs of the country, particularly the financial affairs of the country, so that you don't have to pay any additional tax. You have experienced 10 budgets, no new taxes. And there are those who say, "Chop, you need to pay tax anyway." We have spent the last 9 years investing in our national security. Every year before that, complaining about the high murder rate. Some have even accepted that, well, that's just how it is in our country, and it will never change. Today, the murder rate, if it were annualized, would be somewhere in the region of 25 per 100,000, coming from as high as 49 per 100,000. We've cut it in half. And then there are those who will say, the police do it. Yeah, that's part of what we pick up when we do our surveys, because those are political arguments being carried. We have spent the last 9 years trying to figure out how can we get a proper school bus system for our children. I don't understand it. I had to take the bus and taxi to school. And when I couldn't, I walked to school. If you see why I'm maintained. You know why I keep my belly flat and... because I never had an easy life. So I understand I had to stand up at bus stop and wait and taxi pass and say, no, you can't come into this. So we have spent the last 9 years figuring out how can we do this in an economical way, but more so, how can we do it in a way that protects our children. I mean, it's one thing to talk about the economics. It's another thing to talk about the defense of the mores of the society, the morality and values that are constantly under assault with our children in public passenger transport. That is invaluable. You can't put a price on that. And that is why we opted for this modality. And every Jamaican should support this. Almost every modern country, every democracy, that's what they do. They understand the challenges that children would face if they have to compete in public transportation. So they have a parallel but separate transportation system that is more attuned to schools and the maintenance of discipline. You know, you can't expect the public transportation system to have to run on the schedule of schools. To maintain certain standards in what is played and what is said. So we have a parallel system that is going to be structured and rolled out in a democratic way. We're not going to force it on anyone. If people say they don't want it, it doesn't make sense, give it to somebody else who wants it. So it's a collaborative system. So we have spent the last 9 years working it out. So whatever we deliver, we're not delivering you a concept or a test. We're delivering you something that has endurance. It will last and it will solve the problem. So for many years, people thought, boy, it would never happen. Well, it's happening now. Happening now. You know, we've spent the last 9 years addressing the unemployment issue. When we took over the government in 2016, unemployment was at like 13%. Youth unemployment was almost 30%. We implemented a program called the HOPE program. We implemented the Jamaica National Service Corps and several other programs to bring people into the world of work through the world of training. Today, the unemployment rate is somewhere in the region of about 3.5%. We have more than slashed that. After COVID, we were roundly criticized because there was an increase in the absolute poverty rate. That was at 16% in 2023. We have cut that now to 8%. All of these are big figure things, right? It doesn't mean, however, that you still don't have murders in your constituencies, in your communities. It doesn't mean that there aren't still people who are poor. It doesn't mean that you no longer have bad roads. But it shows you that the country is moving in the right direction in dealing with the big things. You know, and I made this point before and I'll make it again. So one of the complaints that you hear quite a bit on the radio is, someone will call in. I've even heard members of our diaspora calling to say, I came back to Jamaica to my old community and they have no water. And when you ask, how long have they not had water? From a boy, from a born, no water, decades ago. And there is a complaint. But nobody ever calls in to say, hey, my community got water. When I came in 2016, there was a community called Gibbs Hill, or some people said Gibbs Hill, in St. Mary. They didn't have any water, and we ensured water got to that community. There was a community called Rosewell in Clarendon. Didn't have any water. We brought water to that community. But nobody is calling from those communities to say, hey, my circumstances changed, and I now have water. So the national conversation is skewed as if to say, everybody in Jamaica doesn't have water. So we have to bring balance and context to what we have done as an administration. Lest in the age of social media, which is an accelerant for misinformation, untruths, and downright lies and malice. Otherwise, the public can be totally misguided into what is the real situation. So the real situation for this project, which you may be interested to know, is that Jamaica has approximately 270,000 hectares of land that can be cultivated. Let's call that arable land. There would be about 90,000 hectares of this, which we would be able to put water on it and irrigate it. So we call that irrigable land. The NIC, up to now, has 8 irrigation districts across Jamaica, 8 parishes, and they have irrigated approximately 45,000 hectares of land. So essentially, about 50% of the irrigable lands are irrigated, meaning that there is some man-made infrastructure that brings water to the land where none existed before. That figure was only achieved within the last 9 years, because before that, it would be about 25% that was under irrigation. I want you to appreciate that. So for those people who are saying, not now go on, absolute foolishness. It is only under my administration and your government that we have reached this stage. And now today, we have another 6,000 hectares of land that are either in progress or in plans. This is one of them that is in progress, moving out of the plan stage and into the implementation stage. And when we do this, we will move from about 50% to about 57% of the irrigable lands being irrigated. Now that is progress. So for those who say, oh, we just want the water. Yes, I know you just want the water. But though water falls from the sky, to get it to your field take time. Now, what will we be doing in this project? Why it will take so much time? I must first commend the French government for being a reliable and consistent partner in this project. The French government would have given a grant along with the resources, your resources, and we would have done, as the minister pointed out, a very comprehensive study of the area to ensure that when we go to implement, we know what we're implementing and we don't make any errors. By the way, I have seen projects being implemented, particularly irrigation project, where we say, all right, we're going to drop a well and the water is here, and when we drop the well, no water. I see the permanent secretary laughing and the executive director of the NIC laughing because they know what I'm talking about. But we have done the intensive studies here to make sure that we are not wasting time and money in implementation. Having done that phase, we recognize that if we really want investments in this area, you can't just have the farmers saying, I've been living on this land for years, and so is my land. Okay? All right, we want to do big things in farming. Go to the bank and borrow a loan. And let us put up some processing and buy some equipment for automation. They can't do it because they don't have a title. And so a part of the project is to ensure that we can unlock the economic value in the land by empowering the farmers. So this business of seeing yourself as just tilling the soil, getting the 6 months crop, sell it, and you stock up a little money and then you buy a little van or a little pickup. We want to move you now to the next level, where that same land can give you more than the 6 months crop and the down payment and the pickup. That same land can now get you the equipment for automation, the equipment for greenhouses, and more than that, for cold storage and for processing. So we are unlocking the economic value in the land with our farmers. Secondly, we had to survey the lands because we're going to have to run pipes and trunks off the mains. It is going to traverse lands, so we need to establish who owns what and where we will have right of way. So that was done. This is not what was announced in 2005 for 400 acres. This is for 10,000 acres. Then, we're going to have to put in place now a reservoir, massive reservoir. Then we will have to lay pipes and cut roads. And the part of it that I like is that we are going to be building the largest solar plant attached to any agricultural production facility. That will give us, I don't remember how many megawatts of electricity. Let me see if I can find, because it's important. Almost 9 megawatts of electricity. That's big. Thank you. Huge. That was not what was announced in 2005. Of course, we are taking the water from the Black River. Some of it will be gravity, but much of it will have to be pumped. And so having the solarization of the system reduces the energy cost. So this is not a small project. So for those people who are understandably impatient because you've been waiting from Michael Manley, understandably impatient because you've been waiting from Danny Buchanan, my good friend, not again. And then Floyd Green come and tell you 2 years ago and it's still not happening. Yes, I can understand frustration, but it's happening now. Today we break ground. Today the project starts. Today the dreams that you have had for the last 50 years will materialize, and it materialized under the administration of Andrew Michael Holness. And these are facts. So, as I know about politics, people don't vote on facts. People vote on emotion. People are following their football team. But the consequences of following the wrong football team is nothing like the consequence of following the wrong government. Good government matters. And every time I say that, and I look in the eyes, I know it makes some people uncomfortable. Because the truth is, you know, when you have to wrestle between your emotion and the facts, it's very uncomfortable. So I urge those people who have this wrestling with their emotion versus the facts. Choose the facts. Choose Jamaica. So having said all of that, I also need to say that there is also a bigger plan around agriculture. All right, this is not just about bragging and saying, oh, we are the ones who have irrigated the most lands in Jamaica. That's fine. But there is a bigger plan, and that bigger plan is for Jamaica's food security. That's what we're trying to achieve in doing this. You know, recently an international organization said that Guyana was the only country in the world that was sustainable in some elements of food production. I think it's fruits and vegetables and other things. Guyana is about 800,000 persons, and Guyana is about the size of the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken. Several times the size of Jamaica. Huge country. So the question was asked of me recently, can Jamaica become self-sufficient in food? And my answer, this is not a technical answer, no, I leave the technical answers up to the agricultural experts, the minister and his permanent secretary and the other executives of the agencies. But yes, I believe Jamaica has enough lands to be self-sufficient in food. I believe so. What is lacking? Well, number one is the will. So that's number one, the will. Number two, it is the political direction. Number three, it is the technical capacity. And then number four, it is the financial wherewithal, the resources. And then there is this issue of infrastructure. What part of it we have dealt with? We have dealt with infrastructure and the financial resources. In other words, the government has taken the political decision to fund agricultural development, particularly in the development of infrastructure. Now, whenever you have limited funds, you have to make decisions, right? So one decision could be, we could split up the money that we have, all right, and just give it to farmers, give it here in fertilizer, give it there in that. What? The question is, what would be the impact of that versus putting in place a proper infrastructure to irrigate all the lands, to make all the lands productive? So you still have to do agricultural support, but more so you have to invest in the infrastructure. So we are well on our way in the next 10 years to have all our irrigable lands irrigated. So we would have gone one step up on becoming food self-sufficient. The next step, whilst that is happening in parallel, and there are other infrastructure things we're doing. We are putting in the storage, particularly cold storage. We are creating the economic system for this to happen, because after this is finished, we will have to declare some agricultural special economic zones like we have done in Parnassus and other areas, which will create a kind of agricultural ecosystem which will have growing, processing, storage, and sales. So that's the intention. So all of you who are here as farmers and landowners, you are part of a bigger plan to make Jamaica self-sustaining in food production. So I want you to take yourself out of the political narrative that is going on now. All of that is nonsense. And situate yourself into this long-term vision, which is materializing every day. Every day we get a step closer to it. And realize that you are an agent of change in the choices and decisions that you make. So now you know the water is coming. Now you know you're getting titles. By the way, we are going to be giving out almost 1,000 titles, I believe 200 today, free. As a result of this, you're going to get more roads, farm roads. So you now should start to think in a different way about your holding, your land holding. What am I going to farm on it? Where I'm going to get the funds from? I have the title now, maybe I can go to the bank, start to develop a proper business plan. In other words, start to take a more business approach to agriculture. Because that is how we create now what we call the pro-growth mentality. And that is where I would like to see my farmers be, in that mentality. The system is not against you. Work with us. We are working with you. Together we can achieve great things for Jamaica. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. That was a speech well delivered, and I don't know if you recognize that he was totally off script. Please give the Prime Minister another round of applause. So off script that he even went to his phone and brought you information that is well researched. The emphasis you place on projects like the Pedro Plains Irrigation underscores the government's certainly unwavering commitment to the development of agriculture and infrastructure in this country. We recognize the passion, we recognize the interest. And most Honorable Prime Minister, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, all its agencies and stakeholders commit that with the kind of support that we are getting, Jamaica is well on the way to being food secure. And we will continue to put forward the plans and to ask for the support on the road towards that trajectory. Please give the Prime Minister another round of applause. Thank you so much. At this time, it was mentioned by the Prime Minister, but we are now pleased to proceed with the handing over of titles, land titles, to a number of farmers. Right? They're about to become what? Landowners in their own right with their titles in their hands. Ladies and gentlemen, this moment reinforces the key principle that we are committed to improving what? The lives and livelihood of our hard-working farmers right here in St. Elizabeth. I now invite our Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, to hand over the first set of titles that he spoke about. And I'm going to also invite Mr. Joseph Giles, the CEO of the NIC, to facilitate this process. So please, Prime Minister, come forward. Please, Mr. Giles, come forward. She will at some point, because we have a number of titles to hand out. And so we will be calling the name of the farmers who are going to be receiving titles today. Be sure that if you do not hear your name and you don't get your title today, I have it here, that it will be coming in short order. Right, Minister Green? It will be coming in short order. And that is why we have Miss Cherise Walcott from the NLA here. She's ensuring that.
Anybody coming must bring them ID.
Miss Juliet Ann Alexander Curry. April Sarah Lou. April Sarah Lou Julie Gordon. Balford Clacken. Laverne Indiana Cornwall Roden. Kevin Corrison Lindo. Where are the people? This is Laverne Indiana Cornwall Roden. Kevin Corrison Lindo. Mr. Lindo is right here. Tamika Latoya Day. There she comes. Ryan Augustus Dennis. Frank Dunkley. Claudius Facey. Who is this? Frank Dunkley? Oh, Mr. Dunkley is coming. Please, please encourage Mr. Dunkley along. Finally, Mr. Dunkley. Smiling, proud and nice. Finally. Yes, sir. Please give Mr. Dunkley a round of applause. Claudius Facey. Mr. Facey is right here. Desreen Foster. Winifred Herman Hewitt Williams. Is this Desreen or Hewitt? Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. Please give him a round of applause. We now invite Member of Parliament and Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd O'Brien Green, to hand out these titles. We want to welcome Dilly Margaret Hill. We also want to welcome Junior Ricardo James. Everett Lewis, please make your way forward. We also want to call Mr. Robert Lewis to come forward. Catherine Mandison. Ingram Gunter Mackenzie. Thank you very much, Honorable Floyd Green, our Minister of Agriculture. Please give him a round of applause. We now invite Ms. Cherise Walcott, the Executive Director of the National Land Agency, without whom we would not be able to be handing out these titles this morning, or this afternoon now. Anthony Nemhard. Farmer Nemhard. Ricardo Omar Rashford. Is that? Oh, here you are. Moida Richards. There comes Moida. Kenny Anthony Smith. Here is Kenny. Thank you very much, Ms. Walcott. Please give her a round of applause. We now invite the Honorable Franklin Witter, our Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, to hand out these remaining titles. We invite Marvelyn Thomas. Here comes Ms. Thomas. You don't need to check the ID. Sir Witter don't need to check the ID. He knows them very well. Wayne Lee Christian, please come forward. Leroy Bent. Sir Bent. Henry Booth Buchanan. We're giving you the water that you have longed for, Sir Buchanan. Please give Mr. Buchanan a special round of applause. Thank you very much, Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all the farmers who have received titles today. We are serious about improving their lives and livelihood, and we'll continue working towards boosting production as we boost food security. Now, we have heard from our leaders and stakeholders, but it is important that we also hear from the people at the heart of this initiative, our farmers. At this time, we will hear a response on behalf of the title recipients and the wider farming community. Please welcome a proud farmer and one of the beneficiaries of today's title handover, Miss Tamika Latoya Day. Let us receive her warmly as she comes to share a few words.
Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Dermot Spence, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Honorable Franklin Witter, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Richard Solomon, Mayor of Black River, Senator Aubin Hill in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, His Excellency Olivier Goyavois, Ambassador of France to Jamaica, Mr. Joseph Giles, Chief Executive Officer, National Irrigation Commission, Mr. Rohan Stewart, Director of Engineering and Technical Services, National Irrigation Commission, Cherise Walcott, CEO of the National Land Agency, members of staff of the NIC, members of staff of the ministry and our agencies, other distinguished guests, members of the media, farmers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It was Melody Beatty who coined these words, and I quote, "Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow," end of quote. On behalf of the farmers and all the proud land title recipients here today, I am deeply honored to offer this vote of thanks as we mark this significant milestone, the official handing over of land titles and the launch of the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion Project in Southwest St. Elizabeth. Today's ceremony is far more than a formality. It is a powerful turning point in the lives of many here in Pedro Plains and its environs. On behalf of all the farmers and landowners who are receiving titles today, I wish to extend sincere thanks to the government of Jamaica under the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the National Irrigation Commission Limited, and the National Land Agency. Thank you for recognizing the value of land tenure and what it truly means to the people who have tilled the soil season after season sometimes without any legal claim to it, but always with love and commitment. This land is just not acres and boundaries. It represents our livelihood, our identity, our legacy. And now, with title in hand, we are no longer just workers of the land. We are owners, and that makes all the difference. Receiving a land title is more than receiving a document. We now have access to more opportunities to expand, to invest, to pass something to our children. The sense of pride that comes with that is indescribable. It brings security, it brings peace of mind, and it brings dignity. We are especially grateful to the donors, project planners, engineers, and all the partners who worked tirelessly to make the irrigation expansion project a reality. Access to reliable water will not only improve our crop yields, but will also bring us closer to food security and economic sustainability. As a daughter of farmers and one who does farming, I know the severe effects that drought has had upon the farms here in Southwest St. Elizabeth. So, it is no exaggeration to say that this irrigation project will change lives. We are grateful for this bold step towards agricultural transformation, one that puts trust in the hands of those who feed the nation. This is how we build true resilience in the farming sector. To my fellow landowners and farmers, congratulations. Today is your day. You have earned this through years of sacrifice and steadfastness. Let us continue to stand together to care for this land and to use it wisely for growth, for family, and for the future of our communities. As we move forward, we do so with renewed hope, pride, and purpose. Today is not just a celebration, it is a new beginning. Let us also honor this gift by continuing to cultivate not just crops, but a culture of excellence and sustainability. Let us grow what we eat what we grow, and protect the land that now legally belongs to us. So, let the sprinklers rain down showers and prosperity on the people of Southwest St. Elizabeth. Thank you once again to all who made this possible. May God bless you, and may He continue to bless the farmers and the people and Jamaica land we love.
That was truly a great presentation. Please give Mr. Mika Latoya Day another round of applause. Heartfelt words remind us of exactly why we do this work, to empower farmers and their offsprings, strengthen our communities and ensure a brighter future and a more secured one. Miss Day is a teacher from Geneva Primary School. Can you imagine the kids that are benefiting from her stewardship and why the rural bus is very important? What an incredible morning we have had, ladies and gentlemen. One marked by what? Purpose, shared vision, and transformation for the sector. The official launch of the Pedro Plains Irrigation Expansion System stands as a clear reminder that agriculture is not just a past of this nation, but also the future. Yes, the present and the future. On behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining and all our partners, I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for your presence, your support, and your continued belief in the potential of our farmers. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are closing. And although he came in after the function had started, all of this activity for St. Elizabeth extend way beyond the two ministers that we have in our ministry. It was mentioned that is why Minister Hill is here. And that is why MP Slowly is over there. Please give him a round of applause. Because it is the entire parish of St. Elizabeth that we are calling the breadbasket. From the plains over in south up to the hills in the north. And we want to ensure that this parish prospers. Ladies and gentlemen, before we officially bring this morning's ceremony to a close, please know that the day's activity are not quite yet complete. We're going to just stretch you a little bit more. Because immediately following this segment, we will proceed across that field there to the groundbreaking activity for the Pedro Plains office. What we are saying is, this is where the office will be established to begin to execute the project activities. And so we are going to go there and break ground for that. And this will be followed by the unveiling of the official project sign to let you know that we have put our foot on the ground and the project will be proceeding. And with that, I would like to thank you once again for your presence and participation. Lots of food is provided by Mr. Giles. And if it is short, you hold him accountable for it. So I now invite the Honorable Prime Minister, Minister Green, Minister Witter, Senator Harbin Hill, Sir Slowly, MP, Mr. Giles from the NIC, Chairman Vitus, and our CTDs to go across and execute the groundbreaking activity. Ladies and gentlemen, you are free to join us generally so that you can see what is happening. And then refreshment is on the house. Thank you all for a wonderful day.
Bring the shovels now. Good, Robert?
Yeah. No, man, don't move in. I'm about to come with the shovel. Do it, man. No, see, we go closer, we're going to miss the sign. That's why I put myself first. Sign and them. Those just them are three to go about, right? Come on again.
Look at the cameras. Smile. We need to go again. Hold on. Sorry, PM. We need to go again. Do not.
One more time. Turn the shovel.
Turn the shovel to the right, not yourself. Turn the shovel to your right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy yourself for the rest of the day.
How? You have to tell me how. About 30 each other high five. Can you want a video? Up here.